So when I was presenting to the Bank of China, they want to see my hacking skills in actions. So they invite me to try to hack one of the applications that Bank of China use. They put me against the rope, I did, and I was able to find a vulnerability that I successfully exploited in front of everybody in 2 hours and 37 minutes.
Wow.
So I was able to compromise Bank of China in 2 hours and 37 minutes in front of them. They was in shock, and I was impressed because I wasn't expecting this type of vulnerability in such financial institution, which is one of the largest banks in the world.
The following is a long open conversation with Dr. Luis Noguerol, the Director of Technology and Cybersecurity at the United States Department of Commerce. We got a chance to sit and talk about many topics, like how was his journey and his early years both in Cuba, Kentucky, and Florida, which are the principles of ethical hacking and how he managed to compromise the Bank of China in less than 3 hours, his tough love relationship with mathematics and how that led him to develop algorithms that are nowadays used in WhatsApp, and his current and future work at the US federal government. This is On the Long with FVR podcast. If you like this thing, feel free to like and subscribe and to contribute to the channel in the description below. And now with y'all, Dr. Luis Noguerol.
What a way to spend the week, isn't it? There has been like weekends, there has been like holidays, but most important, I believe it's time to start. 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode on The Long with FVR. Today we have Luis Noguerol. Thanks for doing this, man.
Thank you very much for the opportunity.
Exactly. It's an opportunity to have a huge discussion with you based on the volume of work you have done, but most important because of what is the Latino roots here, so far from home. Of course, some people will say, yeah, you make home where the work is, or you have the home where the heart is. But people will be watching, and they will say, hey, I see this person before. I've seen this person in other interviews. So I want to ask you, can you tell us a little more about yourself?
About myself, well, I am a federal officer for the U.S. Department of Commerce. I've been working in cybersecurity for 41 years now. Information technology, cybersecurity have been around my life for my whole life. So this is a fascinating topic, more important than ever before, because all the security or cybersecurity issues that we have nowadays. So it's a fascinating specialization, I would say.
That's amazing. Now, given that there has been so much going on, especially from the region and also from things like education, I need to ask you, how was the education in your early years? How was the world when you were growing up?
The world was 100% different, okay? Back then, on time, we have no computers. Telecommunications doesn't work as today. There was zero connectivity. I don't like the school. After that, I spent my whole life studying, but when I was in my youngest age, I don't like the school in any ways. I like the sport, and I was focusing on that, even when my parents doesn't want to do so for me, or doesn't want that for me. But the education system have been dramatically evolving for the positive in the last few years, specifically because the intersection of cybersecurity and different kinds of telecommunication technologies, social media, etc. Everything has pros and cons, but I want to prefer to talk about technology from the positive standpoint.
Technology from the positive standpoint. That means there has been a positive impact, not only for the industry, but also society itself.
Of course, of course. I always said, when I go to an interview, that we are technology dependent. And technology dependent means that it's pretty hard for us to live today without the technologies we have around and that we use on our daily activities. doesn't happen ever before. The utilization of new technologies in the medical field, in the agriculture, in the transportation business. Our countries operate today based on technology. The infrastructure is just growing up in a better way around the world in general terms. And I do believe that we are not only technology dependent, but the dependency that we are creating at this point will stand for years because there is no way back to similar positions in which we were living before. So we have to move to the front, always in life, by the way, and technology is here. It's part of our life now.
Given that you mentioned that we have to live with it, and dependencies always happen, I cannot help but thinking about the time where life was simpler when technology was not around. Of course, it was a little harder than what is nowadays. And one of the consequences I need to discuss with you is that the more the technology we have around, is like our attention span has been diminishing.
Yes, because we are technology dependent. Before, when you see a technological advance, everybody focuses on that. Now that technology is everywhere, we start learning to live with new technologies, and we consider part that as our regular life, our regular operation, the way we move from one place to the other place, the way that we communicate. So everything has been changing, dramatically speaking, in the last few years, according to the Ponemon Institute. Information technology has been the most evolving specialization or science in the last 33 years in history, in the whole history. This is easy to say, but when you compare all the technological advances, medical advances, etc., for over 150 years on records, making an assessment that technology has been growing up as no other science in the last 33 years is awesome.
Oh yes, that's true. The power of knowledge and the powers of technology is just compounded every year. Now, given that time when you were growing up, I want to ask you, how was those early years? Because people may say, hey, this person looks Latino, but hey, Latin America happens to be very big. Can you tell us a little more?
Yeah, of course. Well, my youngest age in the school was fantastic. As I said before, I really don't like the school too much. I want to do things on my way, which I can now. I understand that now, but I was trying to. The education system was 100% different. The kind of assignment we was getting was 100% different. I enjoy the school in multiple ways, but I don't like to be in the school for 4 hours straight, listening or watching a presentation. As I said, there were not technological advances in any route. It was 100% different, but the school, the essence of the school is something that has been motivating me from my youngest age to now. I do have the perception for the people that are watching the interview that schools are important, are really important. This is a topic that we have to embrace. After the COVID, with the remote work or telework, with the remote studies, etc., there are multiple flexibilities that the students, talking about the schools, have the opportunity to follow as well. And I highly recommend to everybody watching the interview that never stop learning. To learn, you don't have to go to the school every single time, but there are other cases in which you have to go to the school. In the school, you find expertise, you find experience, you find an environment in which, usually speaking, it's easy to move around because almost everybody has the same kind of interest. Almost everybody is trying to achieve a particular goal in life. So if I compare the school before with the school now, I will say that both epochs have similarities and differences. From the technological standpoint, it's another world, but from the study perception, it's the same. We go to the school to grow up as human beings, as future professionals or as professionals to keep expanding our expertise in some particular topics.
Hmm. That's right. And when you were learning and growing up, I believe there was a spark in you that say, well, I'm about to get my high school diploma. There is something else to do.
Well, I'm going to tell you this. When I finished my high school, I enrolled in the university. It was a direct enrollment. Like almost everybody in Cuba, I am from Cuba. A few months after, I dropped it because I get married the first time. My ex-wife was a little older than me, and she always told me, when we was alone, she said, stop going to the school, you are a man, now you are married, you have to start working, and I dropped the school. Huge mistake in my life. Thanks to God that I recovered from the mistake a year and so after that. But I always want to be a pilot. Probably every single child wants to be a pilot, right? I missed 2 opportunities to become a pilot. Because in the 2, believe it or not, I was competing in Europe, and I missed the only 2 chances I have to become a pilot. So later I enrolled in the radio electronic bachelor degree, which I successfully completed in 1992. It was an amazing opportunity and was also related to aviation, meaning that I combined my passion for electronics with the aviation part. So it was a win-to-win situation for me.
Yeah, that's true. The win-win situations are very few and far in between. But to see that you have the opportunity to get that degree and keep moving forward, that was something. More remarkable was your self-awareness in those early years to say, wait a second, I did something wrong. It's time to pivot.
Yes, my mom and my dad, my family in general terms, have been always of a great support. And from the moment that I dropped the school, they was telling me about the importance of coming back. And definitely, yes, I find out that I was a mistake on my end. I re-enrolled in another university, but I come back to the university full time, and this is when I become a radio electronic engineer. I think that we have, as a human beings, we fail multiple times in life. And I'm not going to repeat what everybody said, because I don't like to be repeating what people said, but on my words, if you fail, if you find out about your mistake or what you consider a mistake for you, and you have the opportunity to remediate this mistake, there is always a welcome opportunity to do so. And this is what I did. I just come back, and I can tell you something else. The first day that I began at the new university, I told myself I want to be an engineer for the rest of my life. Since day number 1, I have been falling in love with technology, with electronics. Back on those days, I was doing electronic. So I was fixing radio, TVs, in addition of the radar system. This is basically my major. And again, I just taste the engineering part, and since then I have been fascinated with the engineering specialization in life.
That's pretty cool, because not many people actually say that once they touch engineering, they want to go all the way. There's very few people that actually go all the way. Others, they just scared and it's like, let me study economics.
Well, let me tell you something. Before or until high school, I hate math. To the point where I hate everything. I don't like the school in any ways. But I don't like math. So I was pretty close to fail math multiple times. After I finished my engineering degree, etc., my first master's degree is in mathematics. So I'm telling you this just for you to find out how big was the shift I make on my mind when I walked into the classroom the first day in the second university which I spent 6 years on it, full time, living there, I really become fascinated with technology, with science in general terms.
Now, that change of mindset also comes with, I believe, a change in the scenario, because that second university was not the same as the first one, right?
Yes, it was a different university. I am for a province called Holguin, and the second university was in the Havana city, so in the capital. So I spent a few years living in the capital, full time living in the school. It was an amazing opportunity. I still missing my ex-colleagues from the university, my professors. I have been able to connect with two via social media. I'm super glad. I have been able to connect to 2 or 3 colleagues as well from my years back at the university, persons that I respect in every single angle, because I learned a lot from them, and they were students as well. But I guess that they was a superior kind of students, not like me. So, it was interesting. For multiple years, I was remembering my days at the university every single day, believe it or not. As time passed, things happen. I don't think about the university any longer on a daily basis, but on the very few years after I graduated, I was thinking about the university and my colleagues every single day. So for me, education plays a very important role in people's life. And simultaneously, I got it. Everybody doesn't have the wish to go to the university and spend some time. There are a multitude of people that are very successful in what they do, and they have not been attending to any formal school or university. So I'm just talking from my point of view. For me, have been a very rewarding experience. For others that have been very successful in what they do, without going to the university, my respect. I always think that those people that have been doing great from the business standpoint without going to the university are multiple times more brilliant than other people that goes to the university. So my full respect for everybody. But the conversation was about universities and education, and this is why I was expanding in the topic.
This is very important because it's really a support for the entrepreneurial spirit, the business spirit, and also the will of a person that does not require, to go to a formality to actually have success. This is like a very important narrative, especially because nowadays a lot of people just want to go to certain universities and they want to pay certain top dollar when you can have opportunities somewhere else.
Yes. Well, you have multiple opportunities today that doesn't exist a few years back. One of those opportunities is the humongous amount of information that you can find online, meaning that you have a good opportunities to auto-educate yourself, to learn by yourself, to exploring even the world by yourself in videos, but it's a lot of learning opportunities as well. For those that have been successful in life, from the work or business standpoint, again, my full respect. I understand why many people do not conceive to going to the traditional schools anymore. Today we have multiple opportunities as well that doesn't exist years back, and this affection for someone to be in the school for a particular amount of time, listening to what the professor wants to say, doing homeworks, etc. Sometimes, if you see that from another lens, it's very discouraging. It is discouraging. Okay? Every single professor do not transmit the same experience than others. This is easy to find out. It's a lack of compatibility between students and professors. All of those phenomena are under continuous investigation by psychologists, even universities, etc. So it's a dichotomy topic, because in other words, to be successful in life, you don't necessarily go to the university, but you need to have the wish of doing something different in life. And this is what makes your life different or how you differentiate from others. The formal education, I believe on this type of exercise, but everybody have different opinions, or all respectable, and it's okay. It's okay. But again, the wishes to be better or to do better have to be in you as a person. And this is something that you are not going to learn in the school. This is your decision to tell yourself how do you want to move forward in life, what do you want to do, and if you persist in whatever you do, you are going to get it. Because life is about persistence. Okay? Success is about persistence. Even if you are successful in something that I will never do, I mean, something that probably is not comparable with the way I think, but if you are successful in what you do, it means that you put the work on it. And this is commendable. This is really nice. It's a personal characteristic or a human being characteristics that I do appreciate, because again, dedicating time to do something, anything in life is complex. Like the people at home that doesn't work, grandpas, grandmas, parents that are old and probably never have the opportunity to go to the school for a formal education. But in the majority of the cases, those people treat you as a king. For your mom, you are one of her kings, if you have brothers or sisters. For your family, you are always a great person, and probably those people in your family never went to any school or formal education process. So again, education can be found at the university or technical schools, etc., but also at home. The desire to be good start from your roots, from your experience at home, for the kind of life you have been having with your relative, in general terms, with your family, friends, with your neighbors, the positive and negative experience in life in general terms, the multiple times in which you doesn't make it, and you was assuming that you can do it, and you deciding or end by deciding a drop from this particular thing that you was trying to do in life. So life is interesting because we take different paths, but at the end, I believe that as a human beings, we always want to be better. I hear sometimes in TV and people talking that society today is different from years back. Yes, it is. I have been experiencing that. I'm 57 years old now. So I have been experiencing that as well. But I always believe that there is nothing better than human beings. Human beings is something that I cannot describe in words. From my perspective, we are always trying to do our best as a general term. I got it that multiple people pick another path to follow. But this is not what the humanity is. Human beings try to be part of the society, even when we are getting more disconnected now because of new technologies as well. This is one of the multiple cons of new technologies, is the lack of human being communication. But again, this is part of the epoch we are living. This is going to increase. For me, unfortunately, I don't know for the new generations. Probably the perception, most likely, is going to be different from mine. Some people today feel more comfortable talking over the phone than talking in person. I am not in this group. I prefer to talk with people, to stretch people's hands, to exchange ideas in person. But technology is here and we have to embrace it. We have to learn the best way to keep our human values, and simultaneously we have to go with the technology advances. Nothing that we can do.
Talking about technology and advancement, once you got your degree with radio engineering, there was also another part that fascinated me when I read your profile, which is your relationship with mathematics. How was that about?
Well, until high school, it was a terrible relationship. I don't like math in every single manner. I don't like it. So just the word was creating a nightmare for me. When I enrolled full-time in the second university, I find out that math and physics are the foundation of any kind of engineering, without exception. When I find out that math is everything, I start falling in love with math. And I can tell you that in a few years, I had the opportunity to learn math as I didn't in my youngest age. I mentioned before that my first master's degree is in mathematics. The reason why I finished, and by then it was the first master's degree in mathematics in Cuba. So I was part of the number one exercise, no? From the master standpoint. But I just want to expand my knowledge because being working in information technology, in information security for so many years, I quickly identified the importance of math general, science in general terms, but math and physics on my specific work. And I always try to do my best as well in what I do. So I find out that by studying math, I will be expanding my opportunities from the technical standpoint, and this is what I did. I followed my dreams when I was studying math. So I went from zero love for math, because I don't like it in any ways, to a person that loves math today. I'm teaching in one of the universities I teach in USA. I'm teaching algebra for the doctoral program. Okay, so I come out with -0 interest for math to being a person that appreciates the knowledge and expertise that you can grab when you understand basic mathematical concepts, etc.
That's remarkable itself. Because one thing is to teach algebra in bachelor level, another thing is PhD level.
Yeah, I teach actually algebra and statistics. And I have the best statistics professors that you can imagine in life. I have it in the university and later in my master's degree. I don't want to start mentioning names because then I would be, it happens. You don't mention someone and probably someone watch the interview at one or another point and is going to say, he forgot me. I don't want to do that. But I have the best professors that you can imagine in life. And some of those professors remains today very close friends. Some of those professors were my dad professors at the university. We work in the master's degree together. They are mathematicians by education, by professions. And for multiple years we are extremely close friends, like family. Again, I don't want to mention any names, but there is a particular family in which the two of them was my dad professor when he was doing his bachelor degree in accounting. They was my professors in my master degree and my colleagues, and they only have one daughter, and her daughter was in my defense group years later. So we become all like a family, and they are mathematicians.
All of them.
So all of them, well, the daughter, again, I don't want to mention names because I really don't want that someone believe that I forgot. I remember everybody. But this is a particular case because both parents are mathematicians. By education, she is an engineer in computer science. She's a brilliant person, like parents are. And again, everybody's a mathematician in this home right now.
That's such a singular, special moment, because how many times that happens? That's very few.
Very few. Again, they was my daddy professors, they was my professors and my colleagues in the master degree as well. So I'm very indebted to every single person that have been helping in my education. It has been stone by stone or brick by brick in a building. There are multitude of people that have been helping me out, but this particular family is a different, you know. My feeling for them are different because there are multiple things combined. So my dad, they are pretty close friends to my dad since then, since I was a young guy. And we become friends later, and today we are like family. So yeah, it's an interesting shift, life.
That's right. It's such a unique path of life that is telling us that friends are also made across the journey. Given that you got your second degree in a master level, I need to ask something out of curiosity because at the beginning of the chat you mentioned that you have been also with the federals. So when did they call? How that happened?
Well, it was a unique experience. By the time that I applied to work for the FBI, I was by then the Information Technology Director for Florida National University. I just submitted my application with the hope that I would be called, to be honest. But time passed and they never called me. So I just, on my mind, I still dreaming of this opportunity. But I was telling myself, you know, there are very amount of openings in the government, always. And two, there are people that are highly qualified. So why they are going to call me? Conclusion is that I stopped thinking about it. One particular night, I was in a part-time teaching computer science at the university, and my telephone rang. My telephone rang. I don't know the phone that was calling from the caller ID, and I decided to pick the phone. And it was the FBI, about 2 years later. So they explained me the process, they explained me the position they have opened, and they explained me that I have to go to Puerto Rico to do a particular kind of interviews and examination for a whole week. They don't pay for anything. They told me up front, you have to go by yourself. If you pass, you have a good chance. If you don't, you just lost your money. It's your decision. I don't even think about it. I packed my things and went to Puerto Rico. My first time in Puerto Rico. I spent over there 8 days in total. The examinations was the most worse and complex that you can imagine in life. Examinations about any topics, anything. The last day on Friday, they told me that if I need to go to the bathroom or drink water, etc., because I will be for 8 hours straight without opportunity to do nothing. I'm going to have different interviews in the same saloon. The people that are going to conduct the interview will be coming and leaving, but I have to stay. I cannot go out for anything, even for water. They told me that multiple times. I take it. I told myself I can do that. It's my day number 5, and I was very fascinated with the opportunity to join the government. The day passed. They never tell me anything about how I scored, how I was doing in the interview. In conclusion, time started passing. I feel a little depressed from the professional standpoint until this particular night in which the phone rang again for another second time, and they told me, you have been selected to join the federal government as a federal officer, and your first day is 9 days from the day of the call. 9 days. So I told them, no, I don't want to do that. You know, I want to act in a professional manner. I really want to give the news to my employer. I want for them to have time to find someone to replace me. And they told me something like, we are not asking you, we are telling you. If you are not this particular Monday it was in January. On this particular place, you are out of the question, so you have to be there. We don't know what you are going to do with your employer. I told to my employer, I was very frank. I speak to them clearly. I told them what happened. And believe it or not, by then the former president of the university, he passed a few years back, but by then we have a super special relationship, and he support me 100%, and this is how I joined the federal government. It was a unique experience trying or being part of the federal government. For me comes with multiple morals and social obligations. I feel proud, as I cannot express with words, for the opportunity to be a federal officer. This is something that also changed my life, because after that, every single action I do or execute, every single word I said, every single time I work, I remember about my responsibility representing the American people, and I have been very careful after I joined the government about the vision that people around me have about the way I behave, the way I respect others, the way I do my work in a professional manner. So there is a combination of things. It's the personal feeling, it's my social obligation, and it's also the understanding of my responsibility. As a federal officer, I understand that people see us in multiple cases, in the majority of the cases, as role models to be followed. And this is what I try to do every single day. I try to do my very best as a human being to represent the government.
That's, I would say, like an epic tale, because not many people can go for one night like without even water, and you happen to do all of this every single night consistently for 5 days, and then the grit to say, okay, in 9 days I have to go to the next stage, because the decision was already made within you.
And yes, I was actually praying for that. I was sincerely excited, even talking about this right now. And you know what? I never talk about this. Not because it's a secret, but because I never have the conversation to talk about this topic. So I appreciate the question, and I'm going to content myself, because otherwise I'm going to become emotional. But I really embrace the opportunity to be a federal officer with a great respect for the American people, for the American government. This is relevant for me on my personal life.
It's true, and we can say that action speaks louder than words. Especially the work you have put through your life speaks even louder than what we can grasp barely here. As we progress throughout your journey, we realized that legal relationship with mathematics and physics began also to have encounters with you towards your professional life. And let me ask straight to the point about this singular item that many people use nowadays, WhatsApp. And in WhatsApp there is a particular algorithm. This algorithm was, for some reason, very unique because you found it out. So can you tell us how you and WhatsApp are on the same sentence?
Okay. WhatsApp is encrypted from point to point. In other words, during the communication process in WhatsApp via message, audio or video, the communication is secure. In 2001, I have the idea that combining two different algorithms can produce a different kind of encryption. And those algorithms are the Lagrange theorem with the elliptic curve. It never happened before. Nobody had this idea of combining those two specific algorithms together. So the idea came, I spent a lot of time. By then I was living alone with my son in Louisville, Kentucky. And I started dedicating a lot of time. I was invited to a conference. Somebody was helping me out to make that public. They invited me to a conference in 2002. NASA was participating in the conference, people from NASA. They was fascinated with my algorithms. I sold my algorithms to NASA with every single privilege, and find out that multiple years later, this is the base algorithm that WhatsApp is using. So to be honest, one of my cousin in USA was trying to find a lawyer to see if I can benefit from what I was doing years back. And what I signed was restricting me for making any claims about that.
Okay.
So this is step number one. Step number two is that I was invited to a conference in Madrid, Spain, back in 2004. And then I was part of the public. Somebody that was presenting, Kevin Mitnick, which just recently passed away. Kevin Mitnick is, or was, until 3 months ago, the most famous hacker in the world. And when Kevin was talking, he mentioned my name. And he talked about the algorithm that I put together. And he talked about how the algorithm is used by current applications. It was totally unexpected from my end. I don't know how Kevin found out that I was sitting in the public. He called me to the stage. It was a very emotional moment for me. But yeah, the algorithm, one of the algorithms that WhatsApp uses is my algorithm. And by the way, I have been publishing multiple articles, etc. I just finished an article a few days back that I have not been sending to anybody because I'm thinking to the publisher or to the group of publishers that I would like for them to publish my article, because I decided to explain in a paper what I did with the algorithms from the mathematical standpoint. So this article is ready to be published. It's 100% completed. I have been able to publish 5 articles in the last 2 months. But this article and another article about VPNs are my babies. So it's a lot of time, and it's the first time that I explain with details how the elliptic curve and the Lagrange theorem are combined not in WhatsApp, but in encryption, and the benefits that both bring to the equation from the cybersecurity standpoint.
That's such a fascinating story, because first you are telling us that you sell this to NASA. So all of a sudden we think, oh, the algorithm is going to go to space. And next thing we know, it's on everybody's phone.
Everybody's phone in the world. I cannot legally claim anything. I give all my privilege in the paper I signed. In 2001, I was desperate for money. I was living alone with my son, was working as a welder. My life was a little different. Just living and growing him by myself was very complex. Okay. My son is everything for me, like my parents and family, but we have a different kind of relationship. And by then again, $5 count. I sold every single privilege, every single right. I now understand the legal implications of, but what is done is done.
At least you have right now the capacity to say, this is part of the past, let me focus on what can I do today.
Yes.
And the second part of the discussion right now that we see is that right now you are about to release like a workflow, step by step, how you combine the Lagrange equations and the
The elliptic
elliptic
curve.
curve. especially for encryption, because nowadays everybody wants to talk about cryptocurrencies, they want to talk about a Lightning Network, and it's like, yes, smart contracts, being encrypted, being safe, but it's like, do you know what you're talking about?
Well, this is a super interesting question. Today was my last day training the National Cybersecurity Agency in Malaysia. And after a few months working with them and training them, I used a joke. And the joke was if they know what is happening in the backend of the applications we use in cyber today. And they was giving me some ideas, wonderful ideas, pretty close, and others exact to the point, and it made me happy. It made me happy. But by then, 22 years ago, it actually changed the way that the encryptions work. The good part for me is that I was interviewed about this in a newspaper, about this particular invention, I will say, and the publication is still online. I went through another interview in 2014, 9 years back now, in which they asked me about what I did with the two algorithms. And again, now I am not able to claim anything from the legal standpoint, from the compensation point of view for money. If I imagine that in 2001, you can trust me that I will not be signing anything bad. Again, I need the money by then. Probably in the same situation, I would do the same, to be honest. But I have the opportunity to talk about this. Now I have the article ready to go about how I interweave the two algorithms. Fascinating topics. So now that I think about it, you have been making me think about things that I don't think before, to be honest. No, I'm telling you seriously, okay? And now that I think about it, I don't know how I come out from a person that hates math in every single possible ways to a person that back in 2004 and 5 and 6 was working as a cryptographer. So I create multitude of mathematical models for the government. I combine multiple algorithms, but my two babies are the elliptic curve and Lagrange theorem, and between many others. WhatsApp is using this combination as part of the architecture, and another huge financial institution in the world is using that as well, Bank of China. In 2016, June 2016, they invited me to New York for a week, just for me to explain them how I come up with the idea, the in and outs, etc., because they was planning to adopt the algorithm, and they adopted. So it's a unique opportunity, again, coming from someone that doesn't like math to someone that do or create algorithms, crypto models, etc. It was a huge difference.
You mentioned the Bank of China, and they were in New York. I believe they wanted also to see something else, because back in 2016, I remember there were the wins and the tokens of doing it. The central bank digital currencies were trying to have all of this in the internet. But at the same time, I'm aware that you were one of the very few who also have hacking abilities. So how the Bank of China and your hacking abilities were on the same table?
Well, I already noticed that you have been preparing for the interview, which I really appreciate. You are asking different kinds of questions, and I'm invited to interview frequently, TV, etc. But the kind of questions you are asking are very specific, and I really think that bring value to the interview. I have been working as a qualified hacker, certified hacker, since 2005. In the time or during the time I was in the FBI, I expanded my expertise on the subject. I teach certified ethical hacking classes, and still I am one of the exam writers for the Certified Ethical Hackers today since 2017. And hacking for me becomes a fascinating topic because the amount of problems we have, hacking, legal hacking, is the way for you to identify existing vulnerabilities in the system and try to exploit those vulnerabilities with the intention to remediate the problems. Okay? So when I was presenting to the Bank of China, they want to see my hacking skills in action. So they invite me to try to hack one of the applications that Bank of China use. They put me against the rope, I did, and I was able to find a vulnerability that I successfully exploited in front of everybody in 2 hours and 37 minutes.
Wow.
So I was able to compromise Bank of China in 2 hours and 37 minutes in front of them. They was in shock and I was impressed because I wasn't expecting this type of vulnerability in such financial institution, which is one of the largest banks in the world.
Yeah, that's true. To bring more context of what you were saying, when you go to Hong Kong, you realize that Standard Chartered, HSBC, and Bank of China, they're issuing the paper notes. So there is no central bank in Hong Kong, but 3 banks that issue the paper. And what you're saying is that you ethically hacked in 2 hours and 37 minutes the Bank of China.
One of the applications of the Bank of China.
It's like when you're trying to see a movie and all of a sudden you see something, wow. I want to see that movie again, but okay, the same feelings maybe may not be replicated, but it's like a movie.
Well, it was a unique opportunity that comes. This opportunity followed another one. In 2012, I was the gold medal winner of the hacking Olympic competition. I was able by then to hack a Windows Server 2003 in 29 minutes. I bypassed the authentication method that Microsoft was using by then and is still using today.
That's huge.
It is impressive. It was impressive really for me. I began competing as part of the USA team. We began competing by teams, okay? At the end, the US team was eliminated from the question. It was only 3 teams competing. Israel, it was the team for Nigeria and Russia as well. But somehow I was doing a little different. My performance when I was part of the USA team was noted, and then the organizations that put the event together asked me if I want to compete by myself against the other 3 teams from different countries.
So you against the world?
I was competing against the 3 teams, and I was able to hack the server before anybody else. So I ended by winning the gold medal for this Olympic hacking competition.
That's totally speechless. Because if we wanted to say one analogy of American exceptionalism, this can be one of the examples.
I try to do my best. And I try to learn every single day as time passes. While here in Malaysia, I am here by myself. There is no other family members with me. This trip has been spectacular from the professional standpoint. From the personal standpoint, some low and highs. Being alone for multiple years. I have not been alone as I was during my time here, which is almost reaching the end. And I dedicate a lot of time, instead of watching TV or double thinking about things in life, I focus on producing more technical documents, the publications, to enhance the process on my place of work, my permanent place of work in USA. I dedicate a lot of time to improve the process and the relationship between the US Embassy and some academic institutions here, and also with the government institutions in Malaysia and another 3 countries. So it has been a unique opportunity.
You mentioned right now something that is very, very repeated by the David Goggins or the Joko Willings or the Joe Rogans, which is like instead of just daydreaming, focus on doing something, focus on producing something, and it compounds. And this, without saying, is a powerful message.
I do believe that if you work in a particular field, it doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter if you are a truck driver, which I respect a lot. If you are a janitor, which I respect a lot because I was a janitor as well when I immigrated from Cuba to Kentucky. If you are an engineer, I sincerely believe that you want to be part of the leading teams in whatever you do. And when I say leading, I'm talking about those people that run the extra mile every single day to improve what you do. I don't like repetitions in life. I'm going to tell you something super quick. I already found a publisher for the publication of the Lagrange theorem and the elliptic curve. They asked me to do something, to publish my article as a condition, and I told them, categorically speaking, I'm not going to change a word. I don't like to repeat what other people said. It's the matter of my character. If I have to repeat what you said, I'm going to do happily speaking, and I'm always going to give you the credit you deserve for. Always. No exceptions. I never in my life, not even once, make an assessment from others if I don't give credit to this someone. Never in my life. Never. Not even once. So I do believe that giving others credits for what they do is remarkable. And simultaneously, when I do something by myself, I do not accept that people like this particular company put me as a condition. I say simple, categorically speaking, I said, I'm not going to change a word. Okay? So, you know what? I decided not to publish with them. I told them, I'm not going to change a word, but the conversation about this publication is over now. Mm-hmm. So, yes, it's what you said. I do have the perception that we have to be persistent in what we do. We are human beings, and we have the obligation to contribute to a better world in whatever we do. Anything. It doesn't matter what you do. You don't have to be a medical doctor, an engineer, a master on something. You can be a simple person at home. If you are not working, if you work from home, if you are an old person, if you are sick, you can always help others, at least by smiling them, by welcoming them. This is our contributions in life. To this point, I can tell you something. I have been doing my best every single time I can to contribute, in my case, to the cybersecurity and information technology and telecommunication fields. It's important for me because I have been learning from many others, and I have been able to enrich my technical expertise by understanding and by studying other people's creations. So it is important for me to contribute as well.
It's true, the contribution and also the level of dedication that you put will be the analogy of what Tom Brady was when he was in the NFL, a student of the game. He was always preparing for the next
Well, Tom Brady, I cannot compare myself with Tom Brady, but I just try to do my best. And I try to do my best every single day. You can believe me when I said that my mind, from the professional standpoint, is always rotating 360 times every second. Mm-hmm. Okay, I don't stop thinking and thinking and thinking and thinking, to the point that many people see my place of work, in multiple places that I have been, but in my current place of work at the government, they told me, few of them, they have the confidence with me to tell me that I'm paranoid about cybersecurity. Okay. And this word is a very strong word. Mm-hmm. But you know what? I embrace the word, I take it.
Oh, yes.
I am paranoid. Yes, I am.
Now, let's go back a little into the timelines. When you mentioned you were in Louisville, Kentucky, early 2000s. That place in the winter can be a little chilly, but there is also a place in the winter that is not as chilly and it's actually hot. So how did you make the move from Louisville to Florida?
I was dreaming to move to Florida from day number one when I moved to Kentucky. The reason why I was there for a few years was number one, because I don't have any other place to stay. Two, and most important, my cousin, which for me is my sister, was living there for 6 months. Another family member, that is my mom's cousin, was living there as well. So I have some family there, and this is the main reason why we decided to go straight. You know, we just landed in Miami, stayed for 4 days, do some paperwork for immigration, and then the Kentucky refugee minister flew us for free and give us an apartment for 2 months in which they pay everything, the bills, they give money, give us food, etc. So this is another reason why I always try to pass, to give to others what I was getting for 2 months. Without this particular and initial push, I don't know what I will be ending, what I will be doing today, because I have a major obligation. It's not only me, but as I said before, I was living with my son, and my son means the world for me, because, and my son is a different kind of character in multiple ways. And people multiple times, and I'm not shy to say that, doesn't understand why I treat my son in the way I do. And I'm going to tell you, for the first time in any interviews, when I was alone, he was on my end. When he had an opportunity years later to move with his mom, he refused it and stayed with me. He sacrificed, forced me to do a better person every single day. He doesn't perceive it in this way, okay? People around me do not perceive that in this way. But this is how I see. So again, my time in Kentucky was awesome. This is the place in which I was able to find my first professional job. I began working after ironings, janitors, cleaning restaurants, all working horses, incredible, for 2 years. I was able to find a job as a math instructor at Iroquois High School. From then, I jumped into the university as a professor as well. In less than a year and a half, I bought my first house, pretty close to a year. So Kentucky is in my memories and will be forever as well. I'm very indebted to the opportunities that I got in Kentucky, to some colleagues that I am still in touch with since then, persons that give me the opportunity, that believe in me, that trust me, and give me the opportunity even when I sincerely think that I don't deserve. I do not deserve those opportunities back on time. And I was offered opportunities and I take it, I embrace it. And every single day I was doing my best not to put down anybody that was helping me out. So my time in Kentucky was fascinating. For the weather standpoint, I don't like the weather since day number one. We arrived in Kentucky on February 9.
That's a little chilly.
It was chilly already, but the first time that I see the snow was February 10, the other day. So we was in my sister's house. They was, waiting for us. They have a celebration welcome for us, and she rented an apartment in the first floor. She lived in the second floor for me, that the Kentucky Refugee Minister Organization paid for. So I was sleeping with my son. By then he was 7. He turned on 8 2 days after, and he wake me up because I was sleeping, and when he watched through the windows, it was the first snow time during this year. So the first day I loved the snow thing, the chilling part, but as time passed, I was tired, or I began refusing that. And since then I want to move down to Miami. Something happened in my personal life as well, and I made the decisions, and we moved to Miami with a TV, no, not TV. I moved to Miami with a motorcycle because my car, I have a car that by then was 3 or 4 years old, I don't remember, so a brand new car that I leave to somebody that needed more than me. So I bring down to Miami a radio cassette recorder, my son, my clothes, very amount of clothes, and the motorcycle.
What kind of motorcycle was that?
It was a Yamaha Seca 1998, red.
That's very cool.
Well, the message I'm trying to convey is that when I decided to move down to Miami after having a decent job from the compensation standpoint in Kentucky, I took a huge risk because by then the minimum salary was $6.25.
The hour?
An hour, yes. And I was making $13.75 as a professor. Now you don't make the difference, but 22 years back, $13 was a great compensation. Okay, if you remember by then, the gallon of gas was 87 cents. 87 cents. So, yeah, I decided to do the move. My son moved 2 or 3 months after with me. I started applying. I was looking for a job. I was working as assistant store manager for AutoZone without knowing anything. They give me the opportunity as well, and I take it. I was able to. I have been lucky in life for being around good people that somehow are giving me opportunities, even when I believe that at some points I do not deserve such kind of opportunities, but they have been giving me the chances, and I always take it in the most positive manner, and always express my gratitude by showing the quality of my work. This is how I talk when I indebted to someone, when somebody gives me a hand for anything, okay? I always try to be a forever support of those persons, and I never forget. I have a very good memory, something that I learned specifically from my dad. I have an excellent memory. If you do something positive for me, my family, my environment, or for work, when we work together, I will always have that on mind. There is nothing that you can do for me to change my perception about you. And my gratitude is going to be forever and ever, without counting anything that you may have to do or you say against me. It doesn't matter. I never say anything about anybody, against anybody. This is not me. The people that are around me knows me for that. So I just, I'm trying to be a good citizen. That's it.
Florida, which is always chiller, especially when Thanksgiving happens, and then Christmas happens, and then Valentine's happens. And South Beach has also a different flair. Fort Lauderdale, Miami, Orlando, many cities. There are also the other cities like Clearwater, St. Petersburg, that are also part of Florida. And the swamp and all the things. We're talking right now a tropical environment. And I need to ask you, because I happen to see something on your hand that is from the University of Phoenix in the desert of Arizona. So, I need to frame this question very well, because from a tropical environment, what made you say, Let's go to the desert.
Well, no, I never live in Arizona.
Ah.
During my doctoral degree, this is what I did in my university. This is my university ring.
You can show it here.
Okay. This is my university ring. Let me show you this. Okay. This is the year in which I graduate, 2012. The doctoral degree in English, PhD. And this is my last name. And the two colors represent my son's birthday month, and the other color my parents' birthday month. So this is, it's the school ring. And what I was doing was that it was a hybrid class, meaning that I have to flew frequently to Phoenix, more than what I want, but it was part of the program of the requirement. And I was between Phoenix, Atlanta, Georgia, and Miami. It was a very complex time. When we began the program, the PhD program, in this particular cohort, it was 471 students. Only 6 walked into the stage, in my case, 6 years later.
Wow, only 6.
Only 6. In my case, I was the second one that walked into the stage. Then after me, another 4 graduate. So 6 in total out of 471. It was a nightmare, to be honest.
Of course, because
it was super complex.
To do a PhD dissertation is totally different than just writing a diary, because you need to find a unique research, a unique piece of knowledge that has not been seen before. So, how was the journey of doing that dissertation by hybrid mode?
It was a nightmare. It was a nightmare. Identifying the topic for my dissertation, which is the most complex topic, or is the most complex process or step in any doctoral dissertation, was easy. My thesis is about telecommunications, satellite systems, and cybersecurity. I cannot explain more because the thesis was classified as a confidential by the school and the government, so my thesis is not online.
Okay.
But identifying the topic was not the complex part. The complex part, and it's the very first time you are asking me questions that I have not been exposed before. Let me tell you in this way, dealing with different egos was very difficult for me. There were multiple times in which I was thinking to drop. When I was a year and a half away from graduating, I told my son, and by then my ex-wife, that I'm dropping school. I was really saturated. For the first time probably in my life, because I am not a quitter person. I don't quit things, I don't. But I was really frustrated. So the subject was not the most complex part. Dealing with some particular professors too, to be exact, was a nightmare for me. It was very complex. It was frustrating. But I made it, finally. Finally I made it. So persistence. And I will never forget, by then I have a motorcycle. And I was washing the motorcycle in front of the house, and my son came in his motorcycle. And he asked me for the school, and I told him, I'm going to drop this. This is too much now. And he told me something that I will never forget. He said, you have already spent a lot of money and a lot of time. You have been even losing some friends because the lack of time to meet with people around you. I don't believe that you have to drop this. So go and do it no matter how much it costs. It served as my final push-up. And I told myself, I'm going to finish that. Have to be flexible. I learned that many times in life we cannot do what we want in the way we want. I just become more flexible. Even when I have to sacrifice multiple things from the technical standpoint, in the thesis, I eliminated from the thesis because those two people request, and they have the power to make decisions over my dissertation. And I just eliminated after a very long time of thinking about it, and I was able to graduate.
Mm-hmm. So, after all these little tweakings and dealing with those egos, can you take us to that day when you were in the stadium, walking to receive the diploma? How was it?
It was a very special moment. They called you by names.
Mm-hmm.
When they called the graduate from the doctoral program, and I hear mine, it was different. I always knew that I can do. I always knew that I will be walking into the stage, but I never pictured myself in this particular moment.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a very special moment for me. Especially because my parents, my dad and my mom, have a huge expectation about me becoming a doctor. They was extremely supportive, even when they live in Cuba. So, in this particular moment in which they called my name, in which I was walking into the stage to receive my doctoral diploma from my mentor, from my dissertation mentor, I cannot tell you how many things comes to mind in those 2 or 3 minutes. It was a unique opportunity, and it just confirmed that we can do in life anything we can.
Mm-hmm.
I was sleeping, well, since the university, but while in the doctoral program, I was sleeping 3 hours a day. I keep the habit. I don't sleep more than 5 hours, never. But it was a unique moment, a unique opportunity in which I remember every single person that have been helping me from the education standpoint, from elementary school to my master program. Every single professor comes to mind, every single experience, every single person around me, my work colleagues, everybody. It was a special moment. I cannot describe that with words, but
It's true. It's something that it's hard to describe because I also had a similar experience when I got my master's degree in 2012 as well in Texas A&M. That's where the ring is from. And it's true that they call your name and then there is some ceremony and everything. And there are moments of when you close the eyes, you begin to remember all the little things and all the ups and downs and all the good wishes and also the naysayers. And it's like, it was never about proving them wrong, it was about proving yourself right.
yeah.
And once you get the degree in your hand and it's like, yeah, on to the next one.
I made it. Well, you recently graduated from another master degree as well.
It's an MBA.
Well, this is a very complex degree as well. So let me congratulate you again for that. This is a huge step from the professional standpoint, and I invite you to continue your education career. Don't stop.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Don't stop again. There is absolutely nothing again. I'm suggesting against the people that doesn't have a formal degree or education. It's nothing about that. But we are talking about universities, professional educations, experiences, etc. And this is why I'm talking about this topic. This is nothing else. But yeah, congratulations to you for the successful completion of your program.
The words are very welcome. Thank you very much. One thing is Dr. Luis, and the other one is the fighter, Luis. Because you mentioned also at the beginning that you were practicing judo.
Yes.
But very few people can grasp the idea that the colors means a rank and also the dance means expertise. So I'm led to believe that you are like a black belt in judo, but you have also certain rank between the black belts.
I have a second dan.
And a dan means what in simple English?
And that means in simple language that you have been able to acquire and prove that your expertise as a judo player are different from the first dan and other belt ranks. So it's a lot of time invested on that. By the way, my mom have been trying to encourage me to quit judo since the day I began.
All right.
Since day number one, she never ever support me in the practice of judo. And actually, in here in Malaysia, I have been going to the dojo for 3 months. Sunday was my last day. This week, 2 days ago, because I'm leaving, I'm packing, and I'm leaving. Now, I'm going back home, but I was practicing here every single day, and watching my gigs are over there, ready to be packed. And she have been telling me every single night, we speak almost every single night. I mean, because my night time here is her morning time. And every single day she say, are you going to the school tomorrow again for judo? I always say to her, you know me? And she say, stop, you are an older guy now for now. I can't stop. Judo is on my DNA, have been creating a lot of discipline for me. A lot of disciplines. A lot of respect. As a human being, we tend to fight at a particular moment in our life, okay, depending on our characters. Because the judo practice, I have been able to auto-control myself in multiple cases. We have a randori, which is the competition in judo. We have a fight, which is called randori. Of course, under some particular rules regulated by the Olympic Committee. And it doesn't matter if you won the fights against me every single time, because when we finish, I'm going to stretch your hands. I don't keep absolutely nothing on my mind about this particular fights I lost. It's over. And we are still friends, we are still colleagues. And it's easy to say, but it's difficult to live. Because again, even at work, we have some contradictions in multiple cases. Technical contradictions, technical disjunctures, in which some people are still living the discussion you have, or the contradictions. This is not my case. We have a professional contradiction, technical contradictions, and when the conversation is over, that is over from my mind as well. I don't keep it. I just keep what I learned from the technical standpoint, not the contradiction itself. I learned that exclusively in judo. We fight in the mat. You won or you lost, it doesn't matter. When the referee say mate and stop the fight, the competition is over. And over means over. This is why in my personal life, I don't keep things on my heart. Sometimes I become disappointed, as everybody. I am a human being as well. But when time passes, I always told myself, this is not you. Okay? So just trash the bad experience and keep moving to the forward. Keep moving. Tomorrow is going to be another day. And all of this is because judo. It's a lot of discipline. It's a lot of respect. It's a lot of mental health involved. You grow up when you practice any sport, not judo, any sport. All the sport requires discipline, all. And when you grow up in an environment like that, and when you practice for so many years, I have been practicing now for 48 years. It's my whole life. The only thing I can do is being indebted to the sport. It's a fascinating thing. It's fascinating for me in here, in Malaysia. I was competing with some of the students at the school. Young guys, young people, stronger than me from the physical standpoint. And I have been winning and losing at my age, at 57. But I keep going. This is what motivates me. The fact that I want to keep going. And I want to keep going. I told my mom already when I come back, I'm going back to the judo school in USA. And I'm going to FVR. You can count on me for that. And she said something like, you have to be sick. You are 57 now. You don't want to do that anymore. And I just told her, I'm going to continue. It's not that I want to contradict her. It's because if I don't do it, if I try to please her in this particular case, if I please her by stopping the practice of the sport I like as my family, that has been a huge help for me. I feel like a traitor to myself, and I don't want to have this feeling. So I'm going back to the Euro school. It's a decision. It has been very helpful in every single angle.
It's true that fighting gives you not only the physical fortitude but also the mental and a way to see the life that the ones who have not been exposed will be very hard to understand. For example, motivation always goes up and down, but discipline is the one that keeps you engaged to the next one.
Exactly.
And this is why it's encouraged for people to do either jiu-jitsu, judo, all those martial arts.
Any sport.
Or any sport in particular.
Any sport.
Now, from my innocence in the matter that a black belt is not the same as a grandmaster.
No, the grandmaster is a superior category in Europe.
So can you tell us how big is the gap, or in order to understand, that's why a grandmaster is a grandmaster?
It's a huge difference, okay? Actually, just becoming a sensei is a huge achievement in the practice of judo. For any judo player to become a sensei means a lot. But basically, the main difference in the most simple language is that when you become a grandmaster, a master, sensei, it means that your degree of expertise in the sport is superior in multiple ways to the other people, to the other ranks. For example, here in Malaysia, I was practicing at KL Judo Center. The owner is Sensei On Gio. He was 13 in the world and is the winner of 2 world championships. So this is a superior judoka. He's a superior person. He is a veteran. I have been learning a multitude of things after 48 years in the sport, practicing and training under his supervision. So the message I'm trying to convey is, number one, to be a grandmaster, master or sensei, put you in another level. 2, you can do anything you like in life. He's close to my age, he's younger than me, but quit his full-time job as an economist to dedicate the rest of his life to judo. And this is what he's doing full-time, making less money than he was making before in business. But he decided to do so. So this is why I say that you learn multiple things that help you in your personal life. So there is a huge difference. Basically, dams means what people said, that when you are first dan, you have a black belt. This is what people say to me, when you have 2 dans, second dan in my case, you have 2 black belts, and something like that. This is the analogy. Okay? But this is a very complex process. I have a unique opportunity as well. Let me tell you, I was in Japan for a few days for work, and I forgot to tell you that, I forgot to train in the Kodokan.
Okay.
So they give me the membership, the Kodokan membership, they give me the card. This is a unique opportunity in the world for the judo players. I was able to practice for 5 days in the Kodokan school where the founder of the judo sport was training. Unique experience. But judo is part of my life. It's my main hobby. I stop from time to time, but I'm decided now not to stop. I'm making a public statement. Your video is going to stay in the media for years. I don't know for how long. I am 57 now. But when I come back next week, I will be back in the judo school, for sure, 100%. And I will do my best to see how long I can go.
You heard it here first. Okay? And it's very powerful that the drive to keep this going, to keep this moving, because I also felt that in my personal life that once you slow down, you go down. Like when you are stop training as much or as intense as you used to, then it becomes harder just to make it to the same level.
Yes, actually, Sensei Onjio, the owner of the school here in Malaysia, dedicated 3 books that he wrote for me. Those are those books over there.
Uh-huh.
And in one of those books, the dedication say, you don't become older when you quit judo, you become older when you don't practice.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So this is a true statement. I'm more motivated now than probably when I began. Precisely because many people do not expect that from a person of my age.
Exactly.
Okay, I am an old player for judo, and I recognize that. I do. I know the limitations. My physical limitations as well are present. I feel the age on my bones, okay, in my skills, in the way I move, in the way I exercise the techniques, in the way or how fast I move. I am experiencing all of this, but just for that, I'm not going to quit. It's just for that, because I'm not feeling in the same way. Then in my mind, I have to be healthy. And healthy means feeling the same way for multiple things in life.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a decision made, period. That's it. I'm going to continue.
And we congratulate you in advance, because
Thank you so
one
much.
thing is the spirit, and then the mass will go. It's simple as that. It's like the mind tells you something and the body goes.
Yeah. Yes, I'm very persistent.
And also, if we step back just a minute, how different the ages we live in, because back in the time of the Roman Empire, it was either the wise people, the senators, and then the fighters. It was very hard to actually have this interjection. But now that we have the ability to learn by our own, and also to practice fighting and martial arts on our own, it's like it allows us to experience discipline at our own pace.
Exactly. I have been watching a lot of videos for judo as well, because usually the sensei in here ask me in advance, okay, what do you think about teaching this particular technique today? And when he sent me that in advance, if I have the chance before I go to the dojo, I always take a look to the videos, 3-4 videos, short videos. In judo, things happen quickly, okay? 2-3 seconds make a difference between losing or winning.
Mm-hmm.
2 or 3 seconds maximum. You don't need more than that to lose the fight. So yeah, technology is very helpful for that. It's one of the positive sides as well. And I've been exploiting that in every single possible ways to refresh the specific techniques, to refresh the movement, to refresh the best way to be more effective by using a particular technique. So yeah, technology. I have been using a lot of videos or watching a lot of videos again.
Given that there has been a lot of videos and there's also going to be a lot of people watching this, I will ask you to switch the following conversation now in Spanish.
Okay.
Hay mucha gente que cuando ve tu nombre se da cuenta, lo he visto en Telemundo o lo he visto en los canales de Florida, especialmente la gente de Latinoamérica. Estuve recordando que cuando usted estuvo por Sudamérica, usted estuvo por Colombia y por Ecuador.
Sí.
Quiero preguntarle, ¿cómo fue su experiencia en esos lugares?
Mi experiencia en estos países, especialmente en Colombia y Ecuador, estuve en otros, pero en Colombia y Ecuador fue única. En ese tiempo yo me fui del gobierno por 2 años. Me fui del gobierno federal, estuve 2 años en el sector privado y regresé en el 2015. Y ya aquí pues terminaré mis días desde el punto de vista profesional, ¿no? En el gobierno, pero fue algo único. Yo era el director de ciberseguridad para la compañía que hacía el software para las mayores instituciones financieras en Colombia y Ecuador. Así que en Colombia yo estaba a cargo de la operación de ciberseguridad para Bancolombia. y da vivienda, y en Ecuador estaba a cargo de la operación de ciberseguridad para Pichincha Bank, que es el banco también más grande. Te puedo decir que he visto pocas veces, y he estado en unos cuantos países, he visto pocas veces el nivel de profesionalismo que encontré en los colombianos y en los ecuatorianos específicamente. Mi equipo de trabajo es o fue, porque tengo otro equipo de trabajo ahora muy grande en el gobierno y no quiero lastimar a nadie, pero fue hasta ese momento mi mejor equipo de trabajo en toda mi vida profesional. Son ingenieros brillantes, no al punto que yo esperaba, porque uno siempre desafortunadamente tiene misperceptions, yo las tenía también. Terminé súper impresionado con la calidad de lo que hacían, ingenieros brillantes como te conté. Sigo en contacto con algunos frecuentemente y ya han pasado 9 años. Sigo en contacto con 3 personas del equipo de Ecuador, con 2 personas del equipo de Colombia, personas a las que le agradezco el apoyo que me dieron cuando me reportaban a mí, cuando yo era subdirector, personas con las que establecí un lazo personal que no te puedo explicar, que siempre llevaré en mi corazón. A los colombianos los adoro. Como país, adoro el país. Me invitaron a mudarme con la compañía a Colombia cuando la compañía se mudó. Por eso fue que me regresé al gobierno. Me ofrecieron todos los beneficios que no te puedo contar porque no me los podrías creer desde el punto de vista económico. No, yo lo pensé, la que era mi esposa en ese momento, mi hijo, me dijo, tú sabes, mi hijo, yo no me voy a ningún lugar y si él no se va, pues yo no me voy. Ahí se quedó la conversación. Y los ecuatorianos son como país las personas más humildes del mundo, las personas que más ganas de trabajar tienen, las personas, mira, ya te dije humildes. Para mí la humildad es algo muy importante en las personas. Eso encontré en Ecuador. No solo mi equipo de trabajo, ellos todos, sin excepción, me invitaron a sus casas, conocí a sus familias, fui muchas veces, a Ecuador y a Colombia, muchas veces. Y el recuerdo que tengo, no solo de mi equipo de trabajo, sino de todas las personas que conocí, de lo que conocí a nivel de país, puedo decirte que lo volvería a hacer 100 veces. Puedo decirte más, quizás hoy haría el mismo trabajo de gratis para ellos si me lo pidiesen, aparte de mi trabajo. A ese punto llegué en Ecuador y Colombia. Los respeto profesionalmente hablando, respeto el nivel de complejidad de las universidades ecuatorianas y colombianas. Aprecio muchísimo la preparación y aprecio muchísimo la gentileza, de nuevo, de esas personas que me acompañaron. El inicio no fue para nada dulce. En mi primer viaje a Ecuador saqué en 4 días, de lunes a jueves, a 31 personas del equipo de trabajo. 31 personas en 4 días.
Bastante.
31, habían 107 personas en Ecuador. Saqué 31. Saqué a todas aquellas personas que yo pensé en ese momento que no hacían parte del equipo. Y la vida acabó demostrándome que no eran parte del equipo. Mantuvimos a las otras personas, eran 107 en total. Traje personas nuevas también que se integraron al equipo a una velocidad increíble. Y gracias a esos equipos que me apoyaron, logramos hacer disminuir el fraude bancario en un % extremadamente sustantivo en 2 años, en 2 años y medio. Así que eso pienso de los ecuatorianos y los colombianos. los aprecio como persona, los aprecio como país, aprecio infinitamente la humildad como país de todas las personas, porque es un tema cultural. Aprecio muchísimo todas las bondades que tuvieron conmigo y aprecio muchísimo que me hayan permitido supervisarlos. Aprecio muchísimo a esas personas.
Las palabras son bastante bien recibidas y me llama mucho la atención que cuando usted estuvo en Ecuador, usted tuvo que reducir el tamaño del equipo. Esto como tema de conversación es a veces bastante difícil de conversarlo porque se lo escucha en las escuelas de negocios o se escucha en los famosos videos de emprendimiento. ¿Cómo hacer una decisión tan difícil? Quiero preguntarte, ¿cómo fue ese proceso para decir hay que hacer el equipo más liviano?
Pues mira, yo en cada lugar que he trabajado siempre me engancho, no sé si es la palabra correcta, con la organización para la que he trabajado en algún momento. Así que yo siempre me comprometo 100% con la organización. Reducir el equipo no es una decisión fácil porque estás dejando sin trabajo a personas que viven de eso y que lo necesitan, pero te voy a ser honesto, yo siempre soy honesto. Así que me has hecho una pregunta y no voy a ser hipócrita. Si yo pienso que tú no eres parte del equipo porque no te puedes integrar profesionalmente hablando, o sea, desde el punto de vista de experticia o desde el punto de vista personal, a mí no me tiembla la mano para sacarte del equipo. Así que si te soy honesto, no me fue tan mal limpiando, como digo yo, la casa. Después contraté a otras personas nuevas en adición del equipo que ya había y nos fue muy bien al punto que la compañía decidió moverse de Estados Unidos a Colombia, incluido el presidente. Así que, de nuevo, yo no soy una persona hipócrita, lo volvería a hacer. Yo concibo los equipos de trabajo como eso, como equipos de trabajos, en los que todos los miembros del equipo están dispuestos a contribuir de la misma manera, sin importar los sacrificios personales que les toque hacer. Cuando se trata de eso, cuando se trata de alguien que yo considero que no está haciendo todo lo que puede por el equipo al que él pertenece, a mí no me preocupa que esa persona no sea más parte de ese team de trabajo. No me fue difícil. Esas decisiones que son muy difíciles para muchas personas, para mí no lo son. Y este fragmento en español sí lo van a ver mis padres y otras personas, sí, si tienen la amabilidad de compartirlo conmigo, claro. Lo van a ver otras personas que me conocen y saben que mis manos no tiemblan. Para mí el trabajo lo es todo. Para mí el trabajo es mi negocio. Yo vivo de esto. Y hago un esfuerzo continuo para hacer que la actividad que yo dirijo funcione de la mejor manera posible. Cuando hay alguien en ese equipo que no contribuye de la misma manera, yo siempre voy a hacer lo posible para que dejes de ser parte de mi equipo de trabajo. O sea, yo no quiero personas en mi equipo que no piensen en modo de grupo. Usualmente cuando nosotros trabajamos o en los lugares donde trabajamos, usualmente somos parte de un grupo. Y es nuestra responsabilidad hacer todo lo que podamos para que al grupo, no a mí, le vaya bien. Para que todos salgan adelante de la misma manera. Para que la empresa para la que tú trabajas sea compensada desde el punto de vista de esfuerzos y resultados, porque también nos están pagando para que eso ocurra. Así que yo creo en trabajo en equipo más que en trabajo individual. Creo en logros colectivos, no en logros individuales. Y cuando hay algo que yo creo que interfiere con eso, pues no me duele, no me pesa.
La clarificación es bastante oportuna, especialmente en estas épocas donde nos acercamos a los tiempos de Pascua, a los tiempos de Navidad, y para cerrar los libros del año fiscal, a veces estas decisiones se vuelven bastante difíciles. El hecho que usted nos dice de que cuando la tienes clara, la decisión es fácil, eso debe ser recordado varias veces.
Y no te puedo negar que no me duela tomar la decisión de pedirle a alguien que ya no sea parte del equipo de trabajo. Claro que duele, pero no me tiembla la mano, no me tiembla la mano. El equipo de trabajo va siempre primero para mí que mi percepción personal. Y yo siempre les pido a las personas que me reportan, siempre les he pedido que hagan no lo mismo que yo, porque yo trabajo muchas horas al día, pero siempre les he pedido que me den resultados más que horas de trabajo. Y es algo que con los años he ido logrando. También, como te expliqué en inglés, el judo me ha ayudado muchísimo para eso. Antes me disgustaba cuando era joven y no sé qué pensaba o cómo reaccionaba. Hoy ya no existe. Hoy veo una dificultad a nivel de equipo de trabajo y lo aproximo de otra manera. Lo aproximo exclusivamente como lo siento, que es desde el punto de vista profesional. No pasa absolutamente nada más si no puedes dar más de ti o mejores resultados por una u otra razón. El equipo se está quedando atrás, la organización que representas también. Entonces yo te tengo que pedir que no seas parte del equipo.
La mejor analogía que pude encontrar con respecto a este ejemplo, que muchos consideran ofensivo, otros consideran muy crudo, Fórmula 1. ¿Cuántas veces hemos visto que cuando el piloto llega a la zona de los pits para hacer el cambio de llantas y el cambio de gasolina, es un equipo como un reloj?
Así es.
Y no solamente vemos a los que están ahí cambiando las llantas y poniendo la gasolina, sino que el piloto tiene que estar calmado. Y además, de la parte de arriba, la estrategia de la comunicación con el equipo de radio para decir tal momento, o por qué te tienes que quedar porque hay una sanción, o ha habido un choque, está pasando el carro de seguridad. Y esa manera de sinergia, que cada uno está entrelazado, ese nivel de compromiso, es una unidad de equipo.
Sí.
Es quizá la manera más gráfica que yo puedo encontrar.
Has usado la mejor palabra que a mí no se me ocurrió. Así que te agradezco mucho que hayas usado la palabra que ahora me doy cuenta que debí usar, y es compromiso. El trabajo en equipos, en cualquier cosa en la vida, es compromiso. Es la decisión de que noten a tu equipo de trabajo como el hacedor de cosas positivas y no a ti como el jefe del equipo de trabajo a cargo de esas personas. En mi trabajo, o en mis trabajos, pero especialmente en este que llevo muchos años ya en el gobierno federal, yo siempre procuro que mi equipo de trabajo sea considerado. Siempre procuro que sus nombres, cuando piden nombres de personas que se han destacado, siempre hay más de un nombre de mi equipo de trabajo que yo pongo para que los otros sepan lo que están haciendo. Trabajar en equipo significa pensar en el equipo y no pensar en uno mismo. Significa hacer sacrificios de todo tipo, incluso sacrificios personales, a nivel de hogar, a nivel de pareja, y dedicarle a veces más tiempo a que tu equipo triunfe que a las cosas que haces en tu vida personal. Te soy honesto, eso me ha ocurrido algunas veces. Ha habido momentos en los que por hacer sacrificios por el trabajo me he afectado o me ha afectado en mis relaciones personales, etcétera. Ha pasado muchas veces. Eso me duele, lo volvería a hacer. Porque lo volvería a hacer sin pensarlo, porque de nuevo yo creo que mi equipo de trabajo merece que yo me esfuerce, merece que yo le dedique tiempo extra, merece ser mi foco de atención. Y yo no separo mi equipo de trabajo de mi familia, solo que cada quien tiene su lugar. y yo siento que como responsable del equipo de personas que dirijo, me toca hacer la mejor parte. Me toca hacer que las cosas sean congruentes y que podamos ofrecer los resultados que espera la organización de nosotros. Así que sí, compromiso. Me voy a quedar con esa palabra que dijiste, porque eso es trabajar en equipo. Es el compromiso que uno ejerce y contrae con las personas con las que trabaja.
Hablando de trabajo en equipo, compromiso y también deportes, hay que decir que Florida por sí mismo tiene un ecosistema bastante singular, porque se ha vivido la mesimanía hace unas semanas atrás, pero que también tenemos el equipo fútbol americano con los Delfines o los Marlins del equipo de béisbol. Pero una pregunta personal para ustedes, ¿a qué equipo usted le va?
Mira, ya te comenté que yo no tengo el hábito de decir mentiras, o sea, no soy bueno para eso. Digo algunas, todos decimos mentiras, yo creo buenas o malas, ¿no? Pero no soy exactamente una persona mentirosa, es lo que quiero decir. Yo no entiendo muy bien los otros deportes. Me gusta ver, por ejemplo, el mundial de fútbol, siempre los veo. Me gusta ver los juegos finales de pelota, de béisbol. Me gusta ver los juegos finales de básquetbol del equipo de Miami, del Miami Heat. Pero no son deportes que yo entiendo bien. Yo le voy a los judokas de Miami. Que a medida que ha pasado el tiempo, las escuelas de judo en Miami han ido logrando cosas a nivel nacional e internacional fantásticas. Pero si me preguntas de deporte, ya te aclaré que no soy experto en el tema, pero yo pienso que Messi ha conseguido motivar de manera significativa a las personas que residen en Miami. Yo pienso que es una oportunidad única como ciudad también de aprovechar los beneficios de traer al deporte a casa. Para los niños es también una oportunidad única, todos los deportes. Sin mencionar uno en específico, yo menciono el judo porque es lo que hago y lo que entiendo un poquito, pero todos los deportes son iguales de buenos, todos son saludables, todos tienen reglas de disciplina, todos te forjan el carácter de otra manera. Si haces fútbol, a veces tienes que ir a practicar al terreno doliéndote un tobillo, con un tobillo inflamado, y vas y la gente te ve con un parche y no saben por qué tú lo pusiste. No saben que debajo del parche hay una crema para el dolor, para la inflamación, para la inflamación que te duele, te molesta, pero vas al terreno y practicas y compites. Y eso es la vida. La vida es competir con uno mismo, no con los demás. Competir con uno mismo desde el punto de vista mental. Decirse a uno mismo, yo puedo. Soy una persona mayor, pero todavía puedo hacer un poquito más. Y voy a seguirlo haciendo un poquito más. No sé hasta cuándo. A lo mejor, en mi caso, mañana vuelvo, que voy a volver. Es un hecho. Vuelvo a la escuela de judo en Miami. Siempre he estado en algunas. No es que haya hecho pausa, pero ahora pienso volver de manera diferente, dedicarle más tiempo. Y a lo mejor tengo una luxación en un brazo y me digo a mí mismo, bueno, ya es tiempo, he tenido varias fracturas, muchas fracturas a través de los años en judo. Hace 2 años, una anécdota interesante para mí, 2 alumnos míos, también cinta negra, pero el que estaba ese día al frente del entrenamiento era yo, acabaron teniendo un disgusto personal en medio de la práctica, se lastimaron. Yo fui a intervenir, me lastimaron, me partieron la única pieza desde el punto de vista de diente, no sé cómo decirlo correctamente, que me falta, me la partieron ellos, uno de ellos me dio un golpe, perdí el conocimiento, me cogieron 6 puntos en la encía, y los 2 me fueron a ver al hospital. Vale, estuve 2 horas en emergencia, no fue más que eso, 2-3 horas. Y uno de ellos volvió a la escuela, el otro no volvió más. Pero nos comunicamos y lo único que me decían, profe, discúlpame. Y yo les dije, ¿sabes qué? No pasa absolutamente nada. Eso pasa en el judo. No debió pasar nunca porque eso no es judo. eso no es respetar el deporte que tú amas. Pero ocurrió y conclusión, la vida se trata de continuar y de hacerlo bien, de hacerlo bien. Todos podemos hacer cosas buenas en la vida, aunque pensemos que son insignificantes. Cada vez que hacemos algo positivo, algo bueno, estamos ayudando a otros de la manera que sea. Así que si un mensaje me queda por decir es, hagamos las cosas bien, abramos nuestros pensamientos, corazones, actos, to do better, hacerlo mejor. Seamos mejores amigos, vecinos, estudiantes, colegas, profesores, estudiantes. La vida se trata de eso, si no, la hacemos más complicada.
Eso es verdad. Now, I would like to continue the following in English because we mentioned about sports, team units, and the like of it. But at the same time, realizing that you have not been only in the Americas, and right now we're speaking in other parts of the world. So, in which other parts of the world have you been, and how were those different?
Well, I have a great opportunity during this tour, during this mission, of being working in Malaysia, here, in Singapore, in Vietnam, in Japan, and in Thailand. In every single place that I have been extremely welcome. And as I said before, I think that I have been a good team player on those countries that I have been. 100% different culture from every single aspect, even from the professional standpoint. I have been able to build up relationship that I believe I'm going to stand forever. For example, the opportunity of meeting you was unique. You are a person that I sincerely respect. You take your education very seriously. And people like you are the people that have been around me during this particular experience in Asia. I cannot mention one country over the other because, as I said, I have been super welcomed by everybody, by all the teams. And I have been able as well to exchange my expertise with those teams from those 5 countries I mentioned. It has been a unique opportunity. I'm very proud of my colleagues. I have been learning a lot from them as well. So it has been a win-win situation from the professional standpoint.
Given that perspective, I would like to ask you about those little differences and hear your point of view. Because when we come from the Americas, we usually want to eat, and there is a different taste and a different way to use it. In this case, the fork and the knife. How was your perception when you saw they were giving you a spoon and a fork?
Well, my first experience was when I left the airport, the first night I was here, 3 months back now, and I see someone eating with their hands. I never see that before, to be honest. And it impressed me a little bit. 100% different kind of food, drinks different, cultural aspect in every single aspect different as well. But I have been adapting. I have been able to comprehend that it's just that, it's a different culture. But again, at the beginning, it was really hard for me. If I'm talking about food, I'm leaving tomorrow, and I never become accustomed to.
It's fine.
At the beginning, I loved the food, but after a few days, repeating the food in every single way, and I just stopped liking the food. But I have been able to survive. And I don't lose any weight, meaning that I have been eating, right? But yeah, from the cultural standpoint, a super great experience, super humble people everywhere, to be honest, brilliant professionals. I'm super happy for the importance that the government on those 5 countries that I have been are giving to cybersecurity and technologies, new technologies. I'm sincerely impressed with the efforts that the Malaysian government is putting into cybersecurity. I have been able to train the 2 major cybersecurity agencies in the country. Brilliant colleagues, super motivated, smart people, super professionals, very humble, very friendly, polite. It is a unique experience of my life that I will never forget.
The ASEAN tour. This is a way to label part of this stage because you've been on all these member countries and also experiencing the culture and the food is something that people may say is once in a lifetime. Talking about lifetimes, I need to ask you across your journey, which was the most difficult compromise you did and why was that?
From the personal standpoint,
You can choose.
from the personal standpoint, making the decision to migrate. When I fled Cuba with my son, it was a huge decision. Decision that I made for multiple reasons. Decision that on my first month living in USA, in Kentucky, were very complex. I get discouraged and I reached the point in which I told myself, I'm going to do the paperwork to come back. But very soon after, and this is me, I double think and told myself, you never quit anything, so it's better that you go for it. So in my whole life, leaving my parents, my family, the friend of mine, the place in which I was born and grew up, still today the most difficult decision of my life. I still having some family, thanks to God, in Cuba. My parents are very ill, but they're still alive. And I thank God every single minute for that. But it has been my most difficult decision in my life.
And it's a very respectable decision because those are the ones that you have to do it on your own and you must choose on your own.
Yes.
To do those. That's true. And many other people already got very difficult things to do, and that's an evidence that people live. Because when somebody is telling me, "Oh, I never got a compromise," and it's like something is a little off. You face those. You face those hard decisions. And you live with those decisions.
Yes.
Or you are able to pivot from those decisions. Because as a human,
Yes.
it's a very human thing.
It has been the most difficult decision in my entire life. It's leaving my parents and my family behind.
Now, something that many people in the south and also in the north, we have this point of view that, okay, one thing is to be an American, but another thing is to live as a Latino in the USA. So many times I've been hearing that in Telemundo or Univision, like Latino in the USA. So what are your words about it?
Well, I'm extremely proud of the Latinos community, immigrants community in general terms. I'm sincerely proud because it just demonstrates that the Latinos have the wishing to do better in life, to support their family, to look for a better life for family as well. Latinos are highly compromised with the country's success because again, we need to think bigger than us. It's not about me, it's about my team. And now when it comes to the teams, it's not about my team, it's about my organization, and the organization have a direct impact in the country. So Latinos are everywhere, successful in every single manner, in every single kind of business that we can imagine. This is why I said before that I really appreciate and feel proud of all of those successful people that have been able to establish a business, to live from the business income. Sincerely speaking, I am proud of being Latino, and I am proud of what the Latinos community do in USA and in any other countries in which you can find a Latino person. It's easy for me to appreciate what the Latinos community has been doing, the degree of encouragement, as I said before, the willingness to be successful in life, to provide better for the family, to be happy, because Latinos are a happy community. Even when we are going through multiple troubles in life, when we have multiple troubles in life, Latinos are usually smiling or laughing better, and always keep this kind of enthusiasm that keep the day moving. So the Latinos communities, specifically in USA, have been doing awesome, nationwide, and for multiple years. Without the Latinos community, the country will be different in multiple ways. So Latinos are those people that work extremely hard from nighttime or dark to dark, 12 hours a day, sometimes uncompensated, sometimes discriminated, sometimes abused. This is complex to assimilate that, but it's the reality as well. Yeah. Okay, so I always do my best, and in multiple cases I've been raising my voice to defend the Latinos community in the country. I have been having the opportunity to participate in high-level meetings for work, in which the topic of the Latinos' influence have been exposed, and I always voice my opinions. There is nothing that makes me more proud than being part of the Latinos community in USA.
That's a very heartwarming message for everybody who has been watching this, and it only motivates every single of us to give the best of us consistently and in a very high level, top-notch or full clip level. Now, given that we are approaching the end of your ASEAN tour, did you expect something different by the time that you received, or better off? My better question is, when you were in the other side of the world, how this opportunity came together? How all of a sudden it was like, let's go Southeast Asia?
Well, my main mission was in Malaysia from day number one. On the first week, I was invited to a particular event, international event. I did a hacking demonstration as well, that I was not prepared for because I come in another role. And then the invitations started coming down from the sky from all of those countries. I have two pending invitations that I wasn't able to accomplish. Cambodia invited me as well, the government of Cambodia, and the major bank in China, which is Bank of China, invited me as well. Again. So they extend a formal invitation through the embassy. Unfortunately, I don't have time to accomplish that, neither I want. not because the invitation, not because the professional part. It's just that it's time for me to go home. Being alone for 3 months have an impact. Okay, it's time for me to come back. But professionally speaking, those are unique opportunities in life. And I appreciate that. I'm not underestimating the unique opportunities that I have been given every single time in every single of those countries that I have been working on it. I embrace my task with all my passion and love, and I've been able to exchange or share my knowledge, exchange ideas, and I have been able, I think, to be part of their teams. They embrace me as well as part of the team. Just in very few days, they identify that I am a good team player. And this is what made me proud. It's not what I have been doing. It's not in the ways that I have been contributing. It's instead the possibility to feel welcome on those particular teams, and the possibility to learn from them, the possibility to collaborate together with a team of persons in every single country that are trying their best for the country and for the people. So it has been a unique experience, and I'm sincerely proud of that.
It's true, because when we see from abroad that they may look different or they may speak different or behave different, when you work with them you realize they're humans and they have the same things or even more things.
We have the same desires in every single country that I have been, the exact, not similar, exact same desires to protect people's life in general terms. I cannot talk too much about work, but it implies people life. Everybody that I have been working with have the exact same wishes. We want to still using technologies and embrace new technologies, but in a secure manner. We have the exact desire of stopping the bad guys. So a unique opportunity, unique team players, unique experience. I'm going back with a multitude of new knowledge on my pockets, knowledge that I'm going to, of course, share with my team, pass to them. It has been unique. It's a unique opportunity.
It's true. The perspective of not only realizing that is the value of the work your teammate delivers, it's the experience that makes everything remarkable. Now, given that we discussed about work itself, the quality of work, the volume of work, I need to give you this quote that Sean Ferguson, who was one of the admission officers, told me once that if you really want to experience growth, economical growth, you need to go to Asia, to Southeast Asia. From the Americans, that can be like, I need to see it in order to believe it. From your point of view, what kind of growth have you seen here, economically talking, in the region?
The economic impact of every single country that I have been have been unexpected, have been an eyes opener, and I find out, I conclude by myself that the economic success of those countries, including Malaysia, is because the wishes of the state and the people to make a better country. When you see the motivation on people to do their best on anything they do, for a taxi driver to an engineer, you easily find out why those countries have been able to change their economic situations in less than 25, 30 years. Those countries, this country, are prosperous countries. And I have been participating in multiple international meetings with top executives from different countries in Asia. And I see something that I don't see in other places. And this is that, number one, in the majority of the cases, they know each other by names. In the majority of the cases, they talk over the phone why they are in their countries. They exchange ideas. I participate in one of many banking meetings in which the executives from different bankings that are competing from the business standpoint exchange ideas. And when I hear that somebody from Singapore he's a former Bank Negara employee, he's now the executive person in Singapore. And he talked with his peers in Malaysia in a way that I was telling myself, but what is that? Are you competing or not? But they approached this topic in this meeting and they said, we are competing from the business standpoint, but we want to create more secure business, more competitive business. We exchange ideas. We don't hide, we exchange ideas. It really impressed me. Few other countries are involved in wars that we don't need. We don't need those wars. Asia is focusing on the economic development. And what you can see everywhere is a testimony of that. So very vibrant economies, countries highly motivated, everybody's moving, you see constructions everywhere, you see big or tall buildings, you see a super heavy traffic during working time. It means that the country is moving. The country wants the best for the residents, for the people. I'm very impressed for that. I'm very impressed. The economic success of the ASEAN countries' economies have been awesome. And I can easily estimate, and I am not an economist, that the trend is going to continue because the collaboration and the willingness to go and advance is unique. Very hard workers, very nice people, qualified, interested in learning more, professionals, humble. Is great people.
So one of your recommendations will be like, for everybody who has a chance, they should visit Asia.
Of course. If you want to learn how a poor country becomes a developed country, you have to visit Asia. Okay, there are multiple examples. Malaysia is one of those. Singapore, they just get independent from Malaysia in 1965, and it's the second economy in Asia. Other people say that it's economy number one, and it happened in 60 years. Incredible.
It's true. Many times I got the chance to visit some people call it Lion City, other people call it Garden City. Yeah, it's true. And of course, there are going to be people who say one place has very strict rules, the other place is like, oh, they are not paying enough, and
this is part. It's part of the progress.
Exactly.
The best part is that none of the ASEAN countries in which I have been is imitating the other ones. They are just collaborating together, implementing the good ideas, coming out with their own ideas. So it's unique. To be honest, this is, of course, an experience. It's a unique experience, number one, and two, something that I will never forget in life.
It's true. Now, realizing that your presence online tells that you have been giving many interviews, I need to ask you, how was your first interview? because there was some TV channels in the past. How was the time when you received that notification? We want to interview you back then.
It was interesting, it was fascinating as well. It was in 2013, the first time that I was in TV. I did something for the FBI that the FBI decided to disclose it to the public, which is very unique because it doesn't happen. So the media find out about the person behind this investigation, it was me, and they invite me to a TV interview. It was in America TV, and the anchor is still there, doing the same program after so many years. His name is Juan Manuel Cao, and many other people. And after that, I was getting invites and more invites from different TV channels, different radio stations. Actually, here in Malaysia, I have been going through 4 TV interviews.
Wow.
In Miami. The last one was 2 weeks ago, about the hacking attempts in the casinos in Las Vegas. So I don't feel, to be honest, under pressure, because I was talking about technical things, the technical things that I can talk about it, of course. And since then, I feel socially responsible for changing or sharing my expertise, if I have any, in IT topics, in cybersecurity topics. So educating others, I see educating others as part of my responsibility, and every single professional, I believe, that have to embrace these opportunities as well. When you master a particular topic and you talk in public, most likely people from the audience is going to learn something from you, as you learn from the questions as well. So it has been an interesting journey. I have been in the similar kind of interviews now, in different countries, in Colombia and Ecuador. Here, in the Bank Negara event, in which I won the hacking competition again, the local channel invited me for an interview as well. I wasn't able to watch the interview because it wasn't real time. They told me that they are going to send me the segment. They never did it. But even here, I have been interviewed, and it's a unique opportunity as well. I really respect these opportunities.
You mentioned Bangalore, and we happen to meet some people that in common. In fact, we met in one of those special dinners created by Christine. And I need to ask you, how was dealing with the central banks? Because one thing is Bank of China, which is a commercial bank, another thing is a central bank. How has been that relationship?
Interesting exercise. They welcome me to the day, from day number 1, invite me to multitude of meetings, extend me an invitation for October 24 and 25 as well. I will not be here by then, so I rejected. But the experience with the major financial institutions in Malaysia, specifically, have been awesome. We have the opportunity to discuss multiple type of possible solutions. They are very receptive. Unique opportunities. I'm repeating the word unique multiple times because this is how I see my participation on those activities, on these 5 countries that I have been visiting. It's a unique opportunity, this is the American dream, I would say. Okay, it's the American dream.
It's true.
From the professional standpoint.
I'm glad that you specify that, because there are like 2 kinds of American dream. The first one, maybe you can recall back in the 80s or early 90s, it was Dusty Rhodes, the father of the nowadays fighter Cody Rhodes. He was called himself the American Dream, because he was in a feud with Ric Flair. And also the other American dream, which is you got the opportunity to be in a land that is free, you can have the opportunity to defend yourself, work one job and have enough wages to also have your own retirement. and to own your own home, that was a dream. That for some reason is starting to fade nowadays, especially in the young people that live right there in the USA. And when I see the news, when I see the numbers, it's like, where can you find an opportunity like that somewhere else? I began to realize that some parts of Asia offer you that opportunity. But you need to be like doing your own due diligence to say, where can I find a place that I can, if I do my best, I play by the rules, and I work something very hard, and I save enough for retirement, I can own something, then I can stay there very well. It's getting more and more difficult, I would say.
It is. It's becoming also extremely competitive. The world has been changing, and we have to embrace those changes. Okay, we have to. We cannot stop the way that the society is moving. Probably for a 57 years old person like me, we perceive the current situation as a disaster. It's not a disaster. The new generations, on their way, are also doing the best they can to help the countries. Not in particular countries, but in general terms. The new generation is an awesome generation as well. Different mentality, different interests, different priorities, but at the end, good people, smart people, doing better than my generation and the previous one in multiple ways, less complications, more happiness. They don't pay attention to the fact that they don't have probably something to eat today, or probably that they don't have $1 in their pocket to pay for the car tomorrow. They just live the day as the last. And simultaneously, those smart people, the new generation, is making a huge contribution already to the society. And this is what counts. It's different mentality, different ways to approximate a similar problem. And the problem is, make the countries a better place to live, based on freedom, based on sacrifices, and based in individual efforts. This is everything that you can expect from people in life.
Talking about things that you can see through life, I cannot help but reminding myself about those days that I was like sometimes living by the day, or trying to stay in the right side because bad decisions sometimes lead to bad outcomes. And you mentioned that you are part of the ethics when you are doing the exams and everything.
Yeah, the exam writing for the certified ethical hacking exam.
The following can be a little philosophical, but when we are discussing about ethics and hacking, how can we define a good hacker?
It's a simple definition. A good hacker is the one that do hacking with the authorization of the system's owner. Okay? And the bad hacker is the one that is doing things in the back end without the owners of the operation being aware of. So this is a simple definition.
And the simple definition...
If you ask me to test your system, hack your system, to find out if you have some vulnerabilities on it, I am happily going to do with your consent, and I'm going to provide you with every single finding that I have been able to identify and how to remediate those findings. This is what good hackers do. And the bad hackers are the ones that are trying to steal your money, to compromise your personal information, to make your life impossible, to destroy your credit, to steal your data or the data you have been creating for years. Those are the bad people. And those are the people that motivates me and keep me awake every single minute. I have been dedicating my life to stop bad people. And this is what I'm planning to continue to do. Stop the bad people.
You mentioned right there a keyword, consent. And when we find the total background of this discussion, which is ethics. Ethics and consent go hand to hand, so
Yes.
powerful.
Yes. Yes, it is. There are multiple cases in which, for example, the laws and regulations, from my standpoint, are not associated to ethical or ethics solutions or behaviors. For me, ethics imply consent in every single aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? This is one of the reasons I believe I mentioned to you before that in my place of work we can have as many professional disagreements as we may can. But in my case, when I leave the meeting room place or the meeting room, everything is out. I don't voice my opinion, if not in the meeting, because this is why we was meeting. The problem continue, stay, or is over. But I just finished that at this moment. Ethics for me imply respecting other people's opinion, belief, perceptions. No matter if you don't concur with any, zero. Probably there is zero concurrence about a particular topic or multiple topics. But we can still be friends, be colleagues, be family. We can still be neighbors, good neighbors. The matter that we disagree or enter into different approaches to a particular problem doesn't mean that we are good or bad people. It just means that we are human beings. We are different by nature. Okay, so respecting others is the key for everything you do in life. It's a key, it's a very important characteristic.
It's true that what you say right now, that either in a professional discussion or in the mat when you are doing judo, it's like an arena. And once the fight is over, when the discussion is over, when the ethics has been totally clarified, it's like on to the next one.
Yeah.
Because life goes on. Talking about life, there are going to be a lot of people watching this. There are going to be some young people. Among them, there are going to be some young Louis watching this. So I need to ask you, what piece of advice would you give to your younger self?
This is an interesting and complex question, a huge responsibility. But if I'm going to say something to young generations or young people, it's this: do your best every single time you try. Try to be part of the team in every single place you go. Understand that the team goes over our individualities, that the team have preference. Work for others and not for you. Help others without expecting anything in exchange. Be you, be happy, enjoy your life. And one more time, do your best in everything you do. Do your best.
Dr. Luis, I cannot find a better way to finish this interview. How can people find you?
Well, I am in LinkedIn. I am not into the social media. Most of my interview, when I got the link for the interviews, etc., I just uploaded. But it's easy to find me. My email is public record, my phone as well. Probably you want to put my email, personal email in the description or something. And I'm always willing to help anybody interested in telecommunications, cybersecurity, technology. I'm willing to help in any ways I can. You can count on me. You can always count on me. I always have time to help others, always. Every single day I have 24 hours. And you can do 24 million things in 24 hours. So, Luis O. Noguerol, you can find me just by Googling my name. And if you have any questions, if I can be of any help in general terms, reach out. You will be getting a response, for sure.
Thank you, Luis, very much. I really love doing this.
A pleasure.
And for people out there, please stay safe and see you when I see you. Bye.